His fast flight. Prose. Liam Matancheri. The young seagull was alone on his fact, seen his older brother catch his fast herring and devour it, standing on a rock, while his parents circled around racing. A proud cackle, and all the morning, they Lage, his two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward, the whole family had walked about on the big to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings. He became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath. Plateau midway down the opposite cliff. Laughing at his cowardice, his sun was now ascending the sky, blazing only on his ledge that faced they. And it was such a long way down, miles down. He shone certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under. South. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then, he had louned a dried piece of mackerels. The ledge where he slept at night. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, Flappy steadied their wings, and flew away. He failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. A. Why did the seagull fail to fly? B. What did the parents do when they young seagull tailed to tly? That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents allying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had, in tail at the far end of his ledge. Now, there could he walk. There was no ledge, and he was not a fly, and above him, he could see nothing. The precipice was sheer, and there was not a single scrap or gleelet. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dark-caked straw nest where top of it was, perhaps, farther away than he and his brothers and sister had been. The sea beneath him hatched. He even nodded the dry sea. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge, and, standing on one leg with a pieces of eggshell, it was like eating a part of himself, other leg hidden under his wing. He closed. See, what was the first catch of the young one eye, then the other, and pretended to Skagel, his older brother, be fallen asleep. Still, they took no notice. D. What did the young seagull manage to end in his search for food on the ledge of him? H.C. saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau dozing, with their heads sunk into their necks. FHIS. Lada was preening the Aedas on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his long grey legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents. She was standing on a little high WT meeting having to tear. But on each side, of him, the ledge ended in a sheer full thrust toward. Now and again, she towed hump on the plateau, her white breast of precipice, with the sea beneath, and a piece of fish that lay at her feet, and then scrapy seedy catch side at her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear loot that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Between him and his parents, there was a deep, wide crack. Surely he could reach them without lying if he could only move northwards along the cliff face. But then, onward, uttered a low cackle. His mother cackled, too, and looked at him. www.tntextbooks.in. He was not falling headlong now. What did the young bird do to seek the attention of his parents? Was soaring gradually, downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just What made the young Skegel go mad felt a bit dizzy. Then, he tapped his wings. Once and he soared upwards. Ga, 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 he cried, begging her to bring him over some food. Gol, ul, ah. She screamed back mockingly, but he kept tapped them again. He soared higher. He, calling plaintively, and after a minute raised his breast and banked against the. So, he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned wings making a loud noise. He answered out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, her with another scream. Then, his father, trying to get nearer to her as she talu over him screaming. Then, he saw his across, but when she was just opposite to two brothers and sister allying around him, abreast of the ledge, she halted her. He uttered a joyous scream and wind, ga, 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 golul. Ah! His mother swooped past him, her soaring and diving, legs hanging limp, her wings motionless. Hen, he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commenced to dive and so, shrieking. The piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, shrilly, wondering why she did not come nearer. How did the bird feel when it started rallying for the first time? Mutrupulli. What did the young bird's family do? When he started teeing, and then maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space. His mother Kunju swooped upwards. As he was near the sea now, allying straight over it, facing out over the ocean. Past beneath her, he heard the swish of our wings. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it. He turned. Why did the young bird utter a joyful scream, his beak sideways and crowed Amaskavi. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green floor in front of him. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on. Did the mother bird offer any food to the young bird? Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to nothing, but it only lasted a moment. The next moment, he felt his wings spread rise again, tapping his wings. But he was outwards. The wind rushed against his tired and weak with hunger, and he could breast feathers, then under his stomach not rise exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then tips of his wings cutting through the air. His belly touched it and he sank no farther. And against his wings, he could feel the www. Kana. He was floating on it. And around him, his family was screaming, praising him. And their beaks were offering him scraps of dog fish. He had made his first flight. About the Ota. Liam O. Flaherty. 1896 മുതൽ 1984 was an Irish novelist and short story writer and a major figure in the Irish literary Renaissance. He was a founding member of the Communist Party of Ireland, a native Irish speaker. From the Fardana, O. Flaherty wrote almost exclusively in English, except for a small number of short stories in the Irish language. He spent most of his time in traveling and lived comfortably and quietly outside the spotlight.